In the last 5 years, we have seen a dramatic surge in public interest towards going green. What was once thought of as a passing fad has now become a firm reality that we all must adapt to. But interest in sustainability is hardly a new phenomenon. Since the late 1970s, scientists have been investigating the benefits of new avenues of renewable energy to lessen our society's reliance on fossil fuels and other non-renewable commodities.
A perfect window into the debate is through an underutilized energy resource, biomass. Drawn from multiple sources, our definition of biomass is this: any biological material that can be converted and used for fuel or energy. The roots of American biomass use can be traced back to settlers, who burned wood and buffalo chips as fuel for fires. Unfortunately, the settlers can't take credit for the invention. Humanity has been burning things since the dawn of time. Why, even the term biomass has been thrown around since 1975, with no single person able to take credit. The history of refined biomass starts in 1812. A factory in London had begun to burn organic material to form a liquid oil as a possible energy source. In 1840, the first ever biomass gasifier is built in France. 20 years later, in 1860, wood is the primary fuel source in developed countries around the world. Nearly a century after that, in the 1970s, the push to save the environment begins, and biomass is amongst the contenders for future energy sources that could do just that. In the 80s, the first biomass power plants are starting to be built in the United States, specifically in California. In the 90s, the war to save the environment wages on. From there, biomass gradually grows in popularity, and by the end of the decade, biomass accounts for about 6.7% of the world's energy consumption. Biomass as a source of energy can be split up into three main categories: wood, waste, and alcohol-based biofuels. Wood is the largest and arguably the most basic form of biomass. A symbol of biological life, wood provides heat energy directly when it is burned.
Waste is the second most common source found today in society. When burned, heat emissions can be used for energy purposes. This process is largely considered an efficient method of waste disposal. The least prevalent method of converting biomass to usable energy is alcohol-based biofuels like ethanol and biogases like methane. Such energy conversions are produced through plant byproduct fermentation.
Wood can be directly burned to produce heat, and later when mixed and burned with other types of waste, can be used to produce electricity. Standing on its own, the burning of wood can be used for many purposes, and has been used to service humankind's needs for all of history. Wood and its byproducts can also be forced to undergo a complex process that results in a liquid fuel. This biofuel can either be used as a standalone product or to further energy production for other biomassive substances. But either way, wood is underutilized through this. According to EIA's findings, wood and its byproducts provide only 2% of the energy our society uses as of right now. It is not surprising that most of wood's potential is not going towards energy production for the good of society. 80% of the country's wood and wood-related products are used up by non-energy producing industries.
Arguably, all biomass is a form of waste. Plant waste, animal waste, human waste. When utilized as a source for producing energy, all qualify as biomass. Practical applications for waste range from fertilizer and animal feed to electricity, heat, and biofuels. Another use for the parts of crop plants we are unable to consume is the recycling of it into another form. One method of such recycling is pellet production, which compresses plant byproduct into pellets that can then be used for animal feed or for heating homes through pellet stoves. A common source of electrical energy from biomass is demonstrated by waste-to-energy incineration plants. Here, municipal waste, including wood and yard debris, is transported and burned to create heat, which allows for the generation of electricity. The waste-to-energy plant in Marion County yields annually around 30 megawatts of electricity, enough energy to power a city the size of Woodburn for a year. Similarly, electricity can be generated by harvesting and incinerating reserves of methane, a gas created through the anaerobic decay of biomass at landfills. Plant byproduct, the parts that we don't otherwise have a use for, can be broken down and converted into alcohol-based biofuels. Ethanol is the most prevalent example of this. The process of producing ethanol and other alcohol-based fuels is fairly simple. Either fermentation tanks or gasifiers are used to break down the cellulose into sugars, which are then converted via fermentation into ethanol. Corn is the crop primarily used in the creation of cellulosic ethanol, though wood chips and other substances can be used as well. Today, ethanol is primarily used as a gasoline additive. Here in Oregon, law requires that all gasoline sold contain 10% ethanol.
The benefits and consequences of biomass are a hotly debated issue, and most discussions have to do with the imperfections of the technologies that utilize it as an energy source. Wood actually produces a good amount of pollution and releases black smoke into the atmosphere when burned, and with preservation efforts standing where they are as of right now, wood might become the next precious commodity soon.
Waste-to-energy incineration plants, while being a cost-effective way to manage waste, often do not profoundly decrease harmful pollutants due to outdated technologies.
However, updating such energy plants is often costly and economically unfeasible for many communities. Even with up-to-date technology, the core dangers of incineration remain the same between coal burning and biomass incineration.
Besides aiding in the disposal of waste, it can further use recyclable materials and turn them into energy. In 2000, 48% of the energy generated came from renewable and recyclable sources, including biomass.
Waste-to-energy incineration has been shown to emit lower levels of sulfur dioxide than coal and other fossil fuels. Additionally, a secondary source of danger is found in the ash left over from the burning. Incorrect disposal of this ash can lead to harmful substances being leached into nearby streams and groundwater.
But when the alternative is dumping waste into a landfill, where harmful leaching is almost a guarantee and methane gas emissions are high, waste-to-energy is both a responsible and positive choice. Ethanol, despite it initially being hailed as revolutionary, has shown to not significantly decrease CO2 emissions. Also, gasoline, where it is an additive, has proven to be less energy efficient. But in the end, it's comparable to other energy sources if users care about the environment.
At the end of any measurable period of time, biomass has a huge amount of potential, but only if it is concentrated upon. Any effort to improve biomass energy-producing processes will result in a higher efficiency and higher yield, if only given the time and resources. It has all the potential that society gifts it. In 2005, it was estimated that around the hemisphere, there are 1.875 trillion BTUs of readily available biomassive materials that, if used correctly, could generate and yield 29,208 million kilowatt hours of energy. In 2020, those numbers could jump to 15.3 billion kilowatt hours per year. And within decades, if the methods for harnessing its power improve and waste continues to accumulate exponentially, biomass could service the entire world with power. Although this is an expensive endeavor in the short term, it can grow to be an economically feasible and environmentally beneficial energy source in the long run. All it needs is a chance to grow. What do you think about biomass?
It's awesome.